All right. Now let's get into some discussion. Welcome, Brother Nick. Kia ora. Good to see you. Welcome, Patrina, Sister Patrina, Mama Shelley, Michael, and everybody else who may have joined that I have not mentioned. So what do y'all think about this commandment? The sixth commandment in the book of the law. Oops. All right. So what do y'all think about the commandment?
I think this is one of the major ones that everybody's ignoring. Starting in Genesis, my first place is, we don't get Genesis right. We having problems like we're having right now, trying to define kill, who to kill, when to kill, not to kill, when it plainly says do not. I mean, so that's just my comment to get things started.
Thank you, Mama.
It's amazing.
Emma. Thank you, Mama Emma. All right, let me have Mama Royal daughter, then Ray and Vanessa.
Yes, I think about how the people that translated the Bible or the law, how they were all legal minds, and they understood the legality of words. Just one word can change the whole thing. Because what this commandment is speaking about is not killing. It's speaking about murder. When you change that one word, it changes the whole context of everything. Thou shalt not murder. Why did they say that? And I think about how, when they interpreted these scriptures, they had themselves a confederacy that had an agreement. And so when they told us, thou shalt not kill, it's a conditioning that they put into our head.
Mm-hmm.
No, we are naturally the people of the Most High. And we want to listen to his word. So, when they say thou shalt not kill, that goes, for them too. Meaning that we shouldn't raise our hands. And they told us things, like turn the other cheek and all these things that go along with it. But they understand the legality of the word kill and the legality of the word murder. So it just kind of throws me off every time I read this commandment because of the wording, because it makes such a big difference. It's all about, in the legal terminology, it's when you go to court in this world, in the world, it's all about the intent. What did you intend when you committed this act? And this is the same thing. And they use the word kill to throw us off, because if you read the Bible, it's not illegal, it's not against the word of the Most High to kill, but it is the terms and conditions of the killing that makes a difference. Ingeta.
Before I go to Ray and Vanessa, that is absolutely genius. Think about it. If you go to any community, especially in the land, you will see us slaughtering a chicken, slaughtering a goat, slaughtering an animal to eat. We don't call it killing. We call it slaughtering. Now, when somebody kills another human being, the legal minds start talking about either murder, which is what the commandment is talking about, or sometimes they reword it and they call it manslaughter. We don't, that's an oxymoron. You don't slaughter a person. because to slaughter is to kill an animal for consumption as food. So you never have a situation where you have something called manslaughter. Nobody kills a human being for human consumption. You know, this is another problem with this language called English, you know. And in fact, if you look at the local languages among Isolele, there are two different words for murder and slaughtering an animal. In Swahili, to kill somebody, murder, is kuua. To slaughter is to chinja. Totally different words, you know? Okay, Ray and Vanessa, keep going.
You first.
Go ahead.
Well, first, I have a problem with this. Do not kill. These words are written for the chosen people only, and this is how we treated our brothers and sisters under the Most High. But here we are living in a world in which they took our text and using it against us while they're murdering us, and in some places manslaughter. Yeah, they're eating us. Also,
They are eating us. Exactly.
Yes.
It's hard for me to accept do not kill in this today's world for us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how they condition us as people in this country to obey our masters. Don't strike back. You know, I'm thinking today, listen, if you do all this to me, I gotta take you out. It's just that we're living in a mixed world. We're living with the heathens, the people that will eat us, kill us for gain, kill us for sport, kill us for fun.
Yeah.
And they know we're going to abide by these laws and not reciprocate. It just feels like reading this text, my hands are tied and I'm getting the crap kicked out of me and I can't do nothing.
You know, and to just say to Ray, and just a thought in my head, you know, killing, you know, to commit murder, there's a spirit that comes with it. And so what I get from what Tatan Zombie is saying in this commandment is, you know, to keep yourself from doing it so that that spirit doesn't enter you. Don't let that spirit enter you, okay? Because then you're doing the same exact thing. You're allowing your anger and your malice to come up and to do this thing. I.e., I had two of my family members killed in the Charleston 9. So a couple of years back, in Charleston, South Carolina, a young man went in and killed 9 people. 2 of those people were my relatives that he killed. And the big problem was when people were very upset that, oh, we forgive him. Now, not all of us are in the same place. I forgave him not because he needed my forgiveness. I didn't forgive him because I wanted him to have peace or anything like that. I forgave him solely because I didn't want to carry around that burden of hating him, of looking for his revenge, or you know, what the Most High is going to do to you. I honestly, I really don't care. I don't. I lost 2 relatives that I will see again. They are now our ancestors, but to be taken out in a manner and then how they treated him. And this is what they've done to us. They have taken our babies and thrown them to alligators. They have taken our men and raped them in front of our families. You've done worse than murder. Murder, honestly, would put me out of my life, but to constantly do this over and over and over and over and over and over again, and then humanly expect us to treat you kindly. That's pretty hard. So when he says enemy, that's my question. When he says enemy, is he talking about the enemy, the world, or is he talking about the enemy? Hey, you know, I don't like Ray because I just don't like him or whatever, but that's my brother. Is it that, or is it, you know, because I'd love to give a little piece to little brother. I'd love to take some people from him that he took from me, you know, and it's thanking Father that we are forgiven, and I'm not walking around in that. But yes, I do question, is that malice that I want to see him hurt the way you hurt me, the way you hurt the community. So
well, I'm like Judah. I want to burn the house, the whole town down. I'm sorry. I'm it's who I am right now, and forgive me, but for so much to be going on against us, I cannot stand down. I'm sorry. I'm Judah, or I'm like Simeon. I'm gonna go up to the mountain and throw boulders down and crush everything and get them.
Hey, Ray, I appreciate your candidness, you know, and it's human, you know. The Most High gave us these emotions. He gave us a mind to process these thoughts. And that's how we react, you know. So it's true. It's good to be candid like that, because even these guys, the Israelites who were at the mountain, remember, they had been enslaved for hundreds of years, right? And now they're being told, as a people, you have no reason to hate each other, right? So don't do this. Love your neighbor, but don't kill each other, right? It's good to remember the context. This was given to Isolele, right? Now, does it mean they'll never have enemies? Does it mean somebody won't come and steal my property? No, I'm sure they had that going on. It happened, you know. There's no way you can tell me it didn't happen. But the guidance that they were being given was, if somebody does that to you, don't do this to them, right? Don't kill them. Now, look at who came and started killing us. And then we can talk about why did they start doing that to us. Of course, we'll go into Deuteronomy 28 to discuss all that, right? And should they still be doing it? Absolutely not, right? Should we be defending ourselves if they try to do it? Absolutely yes. You know, absolutely yes. That's the way I think about it. Who is the enemy? The enemy is the one who is acting in the spirit that is not of the Most High, right? Because remember the word shall, mandatory. So we're being told this is the path to follow. Now, if it happens that this person is trespassing against you, whether you're doing self-defense or something like that, could that happen? That you take them out? Yes, it could happen. That's what the may is about, you know? So it's a declaration from us as Isolele to the rest of the world that, hey, this is how I'm gonna act if you transgress against me. I'm not gonna stand there and keep turning my cheek. That's the way I understand it, you know? Is it legal for me to defend myself? Absolutely. That's what he was talking about, legality, lawful manner. I'm not going to wait for it to be declared a war between me and Ray. It's not a war. A war is between nations, you know? So between me and you, it's a fight. Now, what makes it legal is, are you transgressing the same law that we have as a people? You know, if it said you shall not do something in the same law given by the Most High, and you're trespassing that law, or I'm trespassing that law, you have a legal right to get into a personal war with me, to defend yourself, right? And treat me. Then, if I can just not get it, put me in front of the judge to be judged by our laws from the Most High, not their laws that they put together wherever. See, that's a big deal. Why do they keep dragging all these nations to some funny country to go and execute the judgments there and the law there with their laws? Anyway, I could go on and on. Let me see. I think it's Nick. Nick from Kenya, go ahead. And then Michael. You're on mute, Nick. You're on mute.
Hi, everyone. Just hope you guys have had a good week. We've had, let me just call it a real awakening week. I think even the church is being lit up, literally. They're getting a beating to just get them to separate from what they've been doing. But I just want to take you guys back to the book of 2nd Kings, chapter 22, just to get a context of what this is all about and my thoughts on it. Just in brief, this was the time when there was a king called King Josiah. King Josiah was 8 years old when this it happened. So he sent, I think it was one of the guys, to go to the house of the Lord to collect the silver so that it can be given to the people who take care of the house of the Lord. So while he was there, he was shown the book of the law, right? He read it. He didn't believe it. I mean, literally, he didn't believe that they missed this part. So he took it back to King Josiah. And what did King Josiah react as? Literally the same way we are reacting to this. Because King Josiah was like, how come this, we don't know about this? This is not the way it's we've been told, or this is not the way we've known these laws. And if you look at it, he called the entire nation, basically. And then he had them listen to these laws, because they call it the book of the covenant, book of the law in some cases. But he read it, and then he made a covenant to the Most High that he will keep this. And it says, I think in chapter 23, that he made a covenant to keep the commandments and the statutes. Right? So he couldn't have been talking if the book was something different. And then now he says he will keep the covenant and the statutes. Now, what's interesting is that the way we are saying the world kinda is shaped towards us not understanding this, because of sometimes the language is shaped in law form, or rather they use lingo, like legal lingo, and to the common person it just passes away because they talk like they are not talking to us. It's like they have their own language there and it's another language here. What's supposed to be straightforward isn't straightforward, so, and that is lost in translation or lost in between. But you can see the book of the law, once he read, the king was like, how come? And it had been forgotten because it was in the house of the Lord. It hadn't been stolen or anything. It's just that he was brought aware of this knowledge the same way we are getting aware of this. Then what did he do? He went and cleaned up the false prophets who are part of the Baal system. And now when you look at it, we have the Baal people still. We have them. It's just another outfit. But we know the Baal system in the world right now. The sun worshippers, we know them. They're still doing that. And then they've just put it aside. How come the book of the law was kept aside? And this King Josiah comes from the lineage of Manasseh. Manasseh had turned this house into an, it used to be like an adulterous house, and then now changed. So back then, if you think about it, they had known these laws, then they just decided to keep them aside. When they started the adulterous thing, they took this book and they knew if this book is found, these guys will go back to the straight road. So they kept it aside. Same way what is happening today, in the sense that the what they call the Bible, which is actually Holy Scriptures, has been, trimmed and set aside so that we don't get access to this information the way we are doing. So we are literally living in today's shoes as Josiah, who came across the book for this first time. And he's looking at it and said, hey, you know what? There's something here that, and when you look at the text in that verse, I think it's in verse, I think 18, right? He says, but to the king of Judah, which sent you to inquire of the Lord, thus shall he say, thus said the Lord of, as touching the words which thou hast heard. Because thine heart was tender, and thou hast humbled thyself before the Lord, when thou heardest what I spake against this place and against the inhabitants therefore, then they should become a desolation and a curse. And as rent thy clothes and wept before me, I also have heard thee, said the Lord. Why did the Most High hear him out? Because he had now understood that he thought he was doing the right thing, and he thought he was living the correct way. But when he came across this information, he realized he wasn't doing accordingly, because this had been surpassed or it had been neglected. And then what they knew wasn't fully the entire information. So it is now coming back to this, the law of, the 6th commandment, do not kill. It is a reflection of how society has cleverly, I wouldn't call it cleverly, but, deceivingly put those do not killing aspects so that the Israelites fall into that trap. And they're falling into a trap where there's abortion, Planned Parenthood, or things like that, and how else are they? Vaccines, they're just literally, it just happened with COVID, with all these vaccinations, and as Royal Daughter was saying, it's the intent. It's the intent. The intent, or like you read it, the intent, already you have a thought to harm somebody. You're not doing it in self-defense, or you've been overpowered, then you use it to defend yourself. This is clearly from the word get-go. You have bad intent towards these people. But why would they have so much bad intent towards us? Because they do not want us to have knowledge. First, they want to kill you. Then they want to kill you. Then they also don't want you to learn the truth. Then they've taken out the truth, change the truth. They've done so much. It's like they went to a whole course just to mess these things up. Change the name, change the location, change the scripture, call it all this, so that why would you work so hard to do this? It's because you don't want these people to know the real truth. And this now comes out in the way we are reading this, is exactly just like Josiah felt. Because when he got this, he was like, man, I can't believe this. Because he now calls everybody to come together and say, bring all these things, bring how everybody, call the priest, put them together, and let the people hear this, because it was so important, not just for him, but to the rest of the nation. Ingeta.
Brother Nick, Brother Mick, man, I appreciate that. Before I go to you, Michael, you guys remember the song by Bob Marley? It's called Redemption Song. There's a line in there where he says, how long shall they kill our prophets? I mean, this stuff has been going on since day one. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. What book? Book of the law? Michael, go ahead.
This one here, boy, thou shalt not kill. You know, as a shorty, I've always thought that there has to be more to it. And the reason why is because most of the men in my family were military guys. I didn't go, but you know, at 10, off top of my head, 10 uncles. But they're all in church. So you come, you know the commandments by heart, you know. But when I asked about this, thou shalt not kill, it was incomplete to me. And Mama Royal daughter, when she was talking, it was the exact questions. As a youngster, you know, that's what I was wanting to know. Like, what are they talking about? Murder and kill, are they the same thing? These are questions that this little 8-year-old guy is asking grown men who are standing up, been to the military. You stand up every Sunday screaming at us, this book, but you guys been to the service, so is there a difference? These are the questions I'm asking as you. What's the difference? Thou shalt not kill. Do you not kill animals? Do you not kill bugs? Because you kill animals to eat. You can kill a dream. You can kill an idea. You can kill off something a bad I don't know, I guess like something before it starts, a movement, anything. So I'm constantly asking, you know, it says thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill what? Please be specific. And it never really was explained. And but I also was told, you know, you're that group. What? I'm a 70s born child. So you know, in the 80s, I'm asking questions and they called us Generation Crazy and Generation X. I don't know nothing about all that. Then I was just wanting to ask because I know I see killing all around me and it sure seemed justifiable. But when we go to this place where we're supposed to be safe and ask these questions, you guys are telling me this, but I know once I leave this haven called a church, I'm ducking bullets going out the door. No one wants to expound on this. I didn't want to seem as as defiant as I was labeled. Or of course, you know, now I know, well, even before now I knew it wasn't defiance. It was just what you're supposed to do, ask questions. I learned a long time ago, you ask questions, the person don't want you to ask questions, they got something to hide. So that's what I took it as. Getting getting deeper into studying for myself, it was kind of I thought that, you know, there was something to this because maybe there's something else that I'm missing because throughout the book there is killing from for everything wrong and right and eating, and I just wanted to really get a little more clarity on this as coming up. But I also got ostracized being, like I said, 80s baby. I'm born and raised in St. Louis, so you already know that it is just you have that stigma. Well, when you're asking to be uh to be given direction about something so heinous as killing, why is it turned and demonized because you want to know? Hey, you know, I see all this happening around you. There's got to be some type of direction that this has to go because the people that's supposed to protect me are killing. Or what do they call police? The people that's the men in my life that are supposed to protect, they're doing they're killing. They've been killing, but don't nobody want to say why and what instance. When you're developing young minds and you don't expound on certain things, it's just like you're molding them. But you're molding them the wrong way because you're leaving some of the most very important things untouched, and you leave them to make their own decisions and make their own judgments off of a seed that you planted. You just say, well, thou shalt not kill. If that ain't the most controversial thing ever, because we stand in church, hey, we got this one down today, and then you go off, we're going to eat something that was killed. Help me to understand as a youth. That's all I was saying. But out of all the commandments, this was the one that got pushed to the side so much because it was explained as if it's self-explanatory. Thou shalt not kill. That's just what it says. Go with it. That is not at all self-explanatory. Because if that's the case, do we supposed to be vegetarians? Do we supposed to let as men, do we supposed to let assailants come in our house and just do whatever? I'm supposed to protect these sisters of mine. Do I supposed to I supposed to preach at them and pray when they kick in my door? It, it sounds really bad, but you're talking to an 8 to 10 year old who's in the middle of one of the craziest violent cities in America in the 80s. I'm asking about 3 words, thou shalt not kill. Why did I say 3? Because I never thought they were talking to me. I did not think that thou was me. So and I it sounds weird, but I always thought that these laws or whatever were for the older people. I'm a youth. So they're talking to them. Why you can't give me the answer? Because I'm not gonna be 7, 8, 9 forever. And I use the restroom standing up. So I'm gonna be a man. And you can't answer these questions. To me, this commandment, it always like stuck me in the side because I always thought there has to be more to it. And what, probably 3.5 years before I got introduced to this. So, I was thrown. And, your hands are dirty. You see all this stuff happening to you. It didn't, things didn't, people didn't get taken away, or, until I, at 20 and 40 years old. It was happening then. That's why I was asking cousins and neighbors and friends and family, 7, 8, 9, and 10. No one's saying anything. Okay, there has to be more. There has to be more. And then when you, as a youth, once you commit these crimes and you see all these people your age and they are losing them. I know so many buddies of mine, 10, 12 years old, gone, never come back. No one tell them. No one told them. Why? I don't know why. And it does make a difference. The extra meat or the total of this law, man, I'm telling you, it makes a total difference. The expound. Yes, of course. Now it's really it's really it's really, I think, important that the understanding that I have is is verbalized from me to the youth in my family and even the older men, because a lot of people are scared to ask questions. I don't know nothing about that. I've been asking questions since 2 years old. But I think those of us who have been through certain violent actions and even court systems, our understanding is different now because we have different experiences. My understanding of this is probably going to be so much more insightful to the youth coming up in my family because they see experience. They see they know about a lot more than just TV. They see violent stuff happening. But with having the expounding on this law, when I'm asked, and my little grandson running out around here right now, when I'm asking, even before I'm asked, you gotta have that meat to it. Thou shalt not kill. That's not that's not as straightforward because, like you're saying, with the use of the word murder, and man, with malice, oh man, I didn't even understand that. You can't have world with malice. What do you mean with malice? That was a couple of years ago, but it was a kick. It was like a stab in the gut because you have had malice in me. We'd even have I'm doing anything, but you don't know what you don't know what the intent is for another. So when it comes to defending yourself, you may be defending yourself to someone who's stronger, who may overpower you, you might have a rock, may have a knife, those type of things ain't even talked about until it's too late. You're sitting in a courtroom and now there's 4 or 5, they got 4 or 5 pages of stuff. Well, the intent and then the malice, and then you intended and manslaughter, and well, he slipped and felt his head on the rock in the action of while you were tussling. Man, I'm telling you, this one has been a one that I think they must have buried it on purpose. There's no way that this law in the so-called Bible, or however we put it, it there's no way there wasn't more. It's from the gate. You see, you see Cain and Abel. You see all the different animals being how they say offered up. What you're killing. There had my man David. He slayed his 10,000. Well, he didn't lay him down. This is killing. There to me, there should have been a whole lot more from the heads of the church or even the men in my family to kind of put some salt on here, expound on it. But it wasn't, and I'm not dogging them. We don't know what we don't know, or we don't have the mental fortitude to even think, to ask, or even see. Then that's on each individual. But I think when it comes to something as deep as "Thou shalt not kill," or it should have been a book written, you know, even if it was just taking time to expound, because you know it it kind of it kind of puts you in a bad position if you just sit there because you never know, how it would be taken. There's so many of these kids, young murderers, who maybe they just didn't know. But once you get that label, you can't really you can't really say anything because you don't know what the situation was. You know, that's all I have right now.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate that. Brother Kennedy, go ahead, and then I'll have Mama Matuzola after, and then we can go to Mama Emma, Royal, and Nick, those who have already spoken before. So go ahead, Kennedy. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you so much. My comment is that the law, the 6th law, is one that the fallen guys are freely misused. One, if you go to the Bible, the context of the Bible on slaughtering of the animal doesn't have any element of killing. They use the word slaughter. To slaughter, the process of slaughtering, you have to talk to the animal. After you have prayed and talked to the animal, then you slaughter the animal. It's a willing sacrifice by the animal. So the word kill in Leviticus, it has replaced slaughter. Whenever you see the word kill in Leviticus, it means slaughter. But why did we come to slaughtering of the animals? Initially, in the Garden of Eden, we were not told to slaughter animals. We were told to eat of the fruits of the land. It's only after the falling nature of man that God himself was the first one to slaughter an animal. And he used that particular hide or the skin of that animal to cover your sins. That's when we started slaughtering animals. So what the Most High is not interested in killing. When you read the book of Psalms 3, 5, it says the Most High is interested in two words: justice and righteousness. Justice, it has to do with peace, salama. We talk of Solomon, peace, the land of peace, salama. It's about justice. When you talk about righteousness, it means we are morally right in whatever we are doing. Whatever we do has got no contradictions whatsoever in what is required. So when we avoid, when they don't specify the context of killing or the context of not kill, they are encouraging you to be morally impure. Because one, you will have the sinful nature in your mind that I should have an enemy, and therefore this enemy should be destroyed by death. They are planting words in your mind to justify killing. When you go to the book of Joshua 1:7, it says, go neither to the left nor to the right, but obey the commandments. Left means you have friends. Right means that you have enemies. The Most High does not work with enemies or friends. He only works with the people who obey. And that's why it's a trick thing, because we are classifying ourselves as enemies or friends of. It is very tricky to obey the Most High when you have enemies or friends. The Most High obeys those, recognizes those who obey. When Christ was asked, who are your brothers? What did he say? He said, only those who obey the Most High are my brothers. That's what we call justice and righteousness. Now, we come to the context of awakening. The context of awakening, there is an element or the spirit of excessive use of taxation. Why? Because the fallen guys want to use that excuse to prevent you from going back to your God. The power is in your mind is based on your joy. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Now, if you are not joyful, it means that you are serving a different entity, and that cannot be the Most High. So the reason why we have excess taxation is to kill or to remove joy out of you, is to murder you in spirit. So the context of do not kill as it is in the book of the law, it's the right context. But the context that is in the Bible has got so many gaps that living a holy life is not easy if you base your life on what is in the Bible, because many things have been removed to remove that element of righteousness. That's why you see Babylon system, people proclaim to know God, but they sin every day because there is no moral line that they follow. You follow according to your knowledge, and your knowledge is not reliable. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Brother Kennedy. I like that verse from Joshua 1:7. You know, don't turn to the left, don't turn to the right. And then look at what it says in verse 8. This book of the law. You know, every time somebody tells me, oh, we're in the New Testament now, we don't need to keep the law, I ask them, what is the book of the law? And they start telling me it's the Bible. I tell them, show me where it says that. Then I bring them here to verse 8. This book of the law. I ask them, where is this book? You know, I pray that those who watch this, especially in Africa, take this to your preachers. Take it to them and ask them, where is this book? And then if they don't know, if they tell you it's the first 5 books of the Bible, tell them no, that's not what it says. It says this book of the law. Then give them one of these commandments and let them explain why we only get, 4 words instead of 126. That would get them going. All right, Mama Matizola.
Yes, greetings, everybody. I just have a short little comment I want to make regarding the book of the law. So, Tatanzambi, I'll start with this. Tatanzambi law, as elders say, is very definitive. This book of the law, that's very definitive. So, the book of the law of the Most High is a divine order. It's a divine mandate. But what I see being argued on the other side is about common law. Common law and Tatanzambi law, the book of the law, are not the same thing. But they have mixed it up. And so when we see this argument going forward, we tend to think that we're talking about the same thing. But we're not having the same conversation. Don't be fooled. It's not the same conversation. The book of the law is the book of the law. Common law is not the same as the book of the law. Common law takes elements of truth from the book of the law, and they construct their regulations and legislative enactments for society. But that is not necessarily the book of the law. And then let me give an example. Right now we have this conversation going on, being argued here about putting the Bible back in school. But remember I said, we're taught the book of Tatanzambi's law is divine law. Who's going to institute this divine law? Congress? When did Tatanzambi call Congress to vote on or establish his divine order? In the book of the law, when did he choose a left-wing party or a right-wing party to establish his divine mandate? That is not the way the order of Tatanzambi works. He does not change. He does not change, and his order of operation does not change. So if Tatanzambi's order is being reestablished, don't be fooled. It's not being reestablished by Congress. It's not being reestablished by a Republican Party or a Democratic Party. That is not the order of Tatanzambi. So I just want us to pay attention to what's going on, because they like to, take these things and mix it up real good and make you believe that, that this is what they're doing good. They're doing you a favor. They're coming back. No, they're not coming back. They're giving you the knowledge of good and evil. They are not coming back. That's all they're doing, is offering you to eat off the tree of the knowledge of good and evil all over again. So that's my comment. Let me get that.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
get
you,
that.
Mama Matizola. Thank you.
Ingeta.
You dropped 2 bands. Not
Hey,
even one mic. 2 bands. You dropped 2 bands right there. Who appointed Congress? Or who appointed any government to be the one to roll out or institute his law? Nobody. I couldn't help think about the other commandment. You shall not take the name of the Most High in vain. If you take any of his laws and purport to be rolling them out to humanity, and you are not Isolele, you're doing that in vain. You're doing that without being authorized by the Most High. Because the Most High says he shows his word to Jacob, his laws and judgment to Isolele. He has not done this with any other nation. How clear can it be? Wow. Wow. Okay, Mama Emma, go ahead.
And get to everyone. That's awesome. I have a few comments on starting at the beginning. Not kill. An example that you gave in the presentation when you were saying that church and state is not separated. It's all one. We are one. Okay, so again, that takes me to we are made in his image and his likeness. And Lord daughter then broke down to us, his word is the law. He is the law. Okay, so if we are made in his image and his likeness, then what? We are the law. Okay, so again, Brother Kennedy, he brought in Genesis 2, where it talked about the mandate that was given to humans is that we are, no, the enemy was the one who killed and needed the covering of the animals. Okay. And so, and remember also when we was in the book of Adam and Eve, when it talked about they were afraid, oh shucks, afraid to kill. And they didn't, excuse me, I'm losing my thought. Let me go on. Okay, so not to kill. The motive of your heart, premeditated. So again, in Genesis, Most High was speaking to Cain. He said, sin, you getting ready to miss the mark. The mark is that you are to allow what I have said to take place. And I have said that humans are to have dominion in the earth realm, and that the beasts and animals are to come under that. Okay. He refused because he was considered a beast. Now, I don't remember all the details about why he's considered a beast. And again, this is after the fall. Okay, the fall that we keep, well, sometimes when I hear we keep forgetting is that the fall was him falling from heaven, the heavenly realm, into the earth realm. So that's what the Most High is talking about. So again, Most High is talking to his creation, and he's specifically addressing Cain. Cain slayed Abel because his instructions were followed, and Abel's instructions were followed and accepted, and Cain's was not. Okay, why wasn't his followed? Because it wasn't for him. And see, we keep missing it. I think Ray said it's like these laws were not for those individuals. They were for humans to reign and rule in the earth realm. It's the same thing now. Okay, so that's why they want to murder us. Okay, and the definition killing, murder, slaughter is the same thing. It has to do with the intent of the heart. Why are you doing this? Why are you killing? Why are you murdering? Why are you slaughtering? Okay, what do you have permission to do? And again, Kennedy said it, the Most High said we are to eat the fruits and the nuts from the trees. The animals were as well. Okay, but we also have learned that who was eating up everything? And then they started eating themselves. Okay, another example he gave me recently was, okay, when they had to spy out the land, and the question was about the famine. Okay, so there was a famine in the land, but the spies went into this land according to the instruction, and they found what? Fruit so big that it took 2 of them to carry it. But also, who was in the land? The giants, and they were afraid. Okay, so again, that goes back to the comment that Toby just made, which I was going to make, but he jumped in there, so I'm just going to lamb back on it. Oh shucks. Anyway, shucks, yeah, I messed up my own self. Okay, let me go back to my notes. Okay. Okay, and the other one about don't let that spirit get into you. I think Sister Vanessa was talking about that, which is the thing that's the Most High was saying in the beginning. Guard your heart with all due diligence. And he told us that same thing in the beginning. Guard the garden. Okay. We are referenced as trees and garden from the beginning because we are his praise, his pleasure in the earth realm. Human beings, he made us for his pleasure to enjoy in the earth realm, to manifest his righteousness in the earth realm. But the enemy didn't like that. And so the enemy from the beginning has been doing all these things. And as we know, again, the Bible, like Mama Zola just was saying, you know, it's got us all discombobulated because again, we're trying to walk out righteousness like he told Abraham, walk upright before me. But even in that description, walk upright. Okay, well, you know, the enemy is using that terminology again to deceive us because they start calling us animals and beasts. And in the garden, when it said the enemy couldn't walk on all 4 as a beast was, now he's slithering around. Okay, so to walk upright, okay, like they talk about the gorilla, and even now they talk about the bears walking upright like a man. You know, they show all these kind of videos of those kinds of things. So again, we have to be very careful about the terms that we're using when we're describing our human function according to the originality. Because again, they have come in and put all these things on us to make us appear just like them as animals. Okay, the other comment I had, let's see. 2nd Corinthians says, we are epistles written and read of men. Okay, we humans, epistles is writings. Okay, read of men, M-E-N. It didn't say man, all man. Okay, so to me, again, it's showing 2 different species it's talking about, original human and mankind or menkind, kind of man, which is what they are trying to do, to the point now they got the AIs and the artificial babies and all those things that we are becoming aware of. And so even now, what they're doing in Kenya, why Kenya? It's like, oh, for the longest, it's like, I mean, this was just like, I'm sort of like Michael when it comes to Kenya, but see, the Most High prepared us because you told us at the very beginning of one of our fellowships that Kenya was originally a place where they wanted to put the UN. And it's like, okay, now that's all coming out in the wash for me. Okay, you got Obama, you got, I mean, just all of these things that's connected with Kenya. And then also we remember when you're breaking down the Older Testament and the names of where these places are, the mountains and And the fact that Abraham was always moving and being dispersed throughout the continent. And it started over there on the eastern side, or the western side. See, I need a map in front of me. On that side where Kenya is, and then over to where Ghana is, and then in the southern part where so-called South Africa is. So you got this upside down diamond shape of where the original people were in their, again, trying to live separately according to the command, the instructions of the Creator, and running from their enemies, except for when they had to defend themselves. And Abraham, to me, is the number one example of how he did that. And most times in the wars, like, he only went to defend and get back what belonged to him. And it doesn't say anything about him killing anybody. It just says he came back victorious. I don't know if you guys pay attention to that, but it's just amazing to me that that's the one thing that always talks about, and that he would not accept anything from his enemy when they was trying to offer him the spoils, quote unquote, to the victor goes the spoils, but he said, no, I don't need none of that. He said, only the men who went with me for their families, they get theirs. But for me, the Most High is my, so he never used the Most High's name in vain, is the other thing. And see, that's the thing we have to, and that's what the enemy wants us to do. Okay, the riot that they have, this young man, and I was trying to find it. I watched it, and it was so good how he broke down what was happening. And he was saying that law that they had, they knew that it was going to cause the youth to rise up. And the intent was that they would have, quote unquote, legal reason to kill the ones that they killed. So they had, the intent of their heart was to have blood sacrifices. See, this is the other thing we keep overlooking. Covenant for them has to be about shedding blood by any means necessary. And they kind of draw us into that so that we will be the ones to do that. But to make it seem like we're the ones that do that, but also uncovered was the fact that they had the divided snakes in there. They're the ones who had the bullets that was killing these youth. But the information coming across was that our brothers are killing each other again. So again, it goes back to dividing the country way back with King Leopold and what he did, and how now we keep saying that our people could have done something. It's like, what could you do when we were using the weapons that the Most High had given us, the weapons for hunting, gathering, and they came with guns, bazookas, and all those kinds of things. And again, the Most High tells us who was the one who invented all these things, knives and things. We didn't need those. But now, I think about it when I'm in the kitchen sometimes, man, it's like, shucks, I just need to take and bite this peach and this pear instead of taking a knife and slicing it up and doing all these other things that they have convinced us that we need to do to make it better. But anyway, I mean, it's just so much, and everybody is right on. We just each one of us need to do more digging in the area that the Most High has us when we give our communication, because it is so much more, because we are the instruments that he wants to use in this regathering or rejoining the two sticks. And we have to learn spiritually the trauma of our brothers. We cannot continue to murder our brothers and sisters because of the tactics of the enemy. And this book of the law is one of them. It's like, okay, remember who we got this book of the law from, and who is interpreting this for us. So again, you have to remember that, it's coming from what are they out in Utah, and then the guy who did the book of, who went through and did every word, what is his name, Strange. So someone who was in the scribes group with one of well, and most of the well, just in the world right now, in this war that we have within ourselves and with the nations, is whatever your interest is or was in the world, that's a strong point. So if you are a person that likes to read, a person who likes grammar, English, and all those kinds of things, you need to do more in that, because those are gifts that highlight the strength that's going to help us become the one that the Most High is going to do. So, yes, Ngeta.
Thank you, Mama Emma. Thank you, Mama Emma. Wow. You're all coming together and just dropping band after band after band after band. Let's keep it going. Okay, I have Mama Royal daughter. Go ahead.
Okay, before she go on, I have one other comment that I think is important, and I'm sure somebody's going to build on it. In the first Exodus, there was the mixed multitude already present, and we were still under the spell of what happened in Genesis. Remember, we are in the Exodus. We are out of the garden. We are off of our land. We are in this, in Egypt. All of those things. And we did, and again, it was hard for us to recognize our enemy. We didn't know who our enemy was still. And we did use the name of the Lord in vain, of Tatanzami in vain. So those are other key things that I was noticing, not so much from the comments that you guys were making, but just in the studies. There was also a verse that I wanted to read. Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 1. When thou goest out to battle against thine enemies, and seest horses and chariots, and a people more than thou, be not afraid of them. For Sanini, not thus Samandala, our Savior, is with thee, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be, when you are come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, admonish the people, there we go, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Israel, or O Jacob, Jacobi, ye approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint. Fear not and do not tremble, neither be ye terrified because of them. For Tatan Zamis and Nini, your mighty one, is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. So, that's something that I think, we have to keep. I know I have to remind myself, because, when Ray was talking, it's like, yeah, I'm a woman, and I feel I was doing the same thing. It's like, oh my goodness. It's like I had to war against I had to slow down. It's like, okay, wait a minute. Yes, I'm not going to, like he says, I'm not going to continue, but the Most High is showing us that we don't have to. Life and death is in the power of our tongue, and they know that, and they use their words continually against us. The media is nothing but words going out. They have used it in World War I, World War II. They're trying to use it in World War III, but the war is against them, not us. We have to realize that the Most High is fighting against them for us. As long as we remember that we are the ones that they're trying to murder. In Geta.
Thank you. Thank you, Mama Emma. Oh, wow. You have triggered me. Mama Rhoda, go ahead as I put my thoughts together.
And get listening, and reading this whole law. This law is bigger than we think. But it brings me back to Galatians when he talks about being born under the law, because that makes all the difference when it comes to this law. In Joshua 20, Deuteronomy 19, verses 1 to 13, Numbers 35 from verse 6 to the end, they speak about these laws and the terms of these laws. It talks about what is considered murder. It talks about the refuge cities. It talks about the avenger of blood, and how the Most High intended when Isolele was in the land, how he dealt with people who committed murder. Now, because we are scattered, these things, these laws don't apply. So that's why, he abolished some of these laws, because Isolele is not in the land anymore, and so we were scattered, and he said we will forget who we are. We will be disconnected from our heritage and culture and the laws, but it says in times of ignorance, Acts 17:30, and in the times of ignorance, Tatanzambi wings, but now commanded all man everywhere to repent. So in this dispensation, the repentance is more important than anything else. But he says in Jeremiah 30 and verse 11, he says, for I am with thee, said the Lord, to save thee, though I make a full end of all the nations whither I have scattered thee. Yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Why? Because we're children born under the law. So we are subject to the law. What he's saying is that the judgment is reserved for those who break the law, who were not born under the law. But those who are born under the law, he said, I will correct you in measure. In other words, you get your punishment right up front. And that's what we see happening with us. We know to ourselves, when we get a punishment, we say, I know it's for this because I did such and such, because I did such and such. We get the judgment right away. But the judgment that's coming on the end is for those that were not born under the law, who are not subject to this law. So because of that, because he's long suffering with them, they think that they got away with it. Look at Paul, for instance. Paul was walking around with his mini army, just killing people who he thought was violating the laws of the Most High. But the Most High knew that his heart was in the right place. And so, Paul always spoke about how much he regretted what he did, but he didn't know better. He didn't know better. And so the Most High didn't really hold it against him. The Most High loved his enthusiasm, the energy with which he carried out what he thought was the law. And the Most High used that, And so those of us in this dispensation who didn't know the law, what the law really says, and in our ignorance, the Most High winked. But now we're coming back into the law. We're learning the law. Like I said, we're not a rubber band where your mind stretches and it goes back and shrinks back. So once you know this law, there's a responsibility that comes with it, because he's bringing us back under the bond of covenant. So the law then was that the punishment was instantaneous. If you killed somebody inadvertently, that you were allowed to run into these cities, these refuge cities, unless the slayer caught you before you got to the city, and you didn't get away. It was until that there would be a judgment, that the court would convene and there would be a judgment, and then they would execute that judgment. But now, because we didn't know, Katanzambi looked at us he winked at us, just like he winked at Paul, because Paul didn't know. But the world knows that, there's a lot about the law that we don't know. But they also know that because we are children born under the law, that there is a punishment that comes for us. So in their knowledge that we didn't have, their purpose was to destroy the covenant. And the only way to destroy the covenant was to destroy us. And so they allowed us to violate the laws, knowing that we are subject to the laws, so we get the punishment. The other thing they did was they classified us as animals to justify them killing us. This is what chattel slavery was about. In order that their conscience would be clear, they called us animals. They never classified us as humans, so that killing us was justified. So there's a lot, there's a lot. The legality of the book of the law. They understood it and they know we didn't understand it, because they cut us off. We had no idea that we are subject to a law. We had no idea why all of this was happening. We had no idea that they're trying to destroy the covenant, and the only way to destroy the covenant is to destroy us. So this is so huge, but the main point is that now that we know, now that we understand the law and the gist of the law, we can't go back to acting like we didn't know. We have to adjust ourselves accordingly. Ingeta.
Ingeta. Oh my, thank you for that explanation, Mama Eldo. That is so good. Oh my goodness. Okay, Ray and Vanessa, you next. Go ahead.
This is better than good. I love when truth is exposed, and we get a chance to get it right, and we get a chance to move forward in the way that Sonini Nanini has designed us to move forward. Going back to this wonderful commandment of do not kill, and just how everybody has brought such clarity to me about this, in that killing is one thing, murder is another. I'm thinking even of the slavery that my folks have endured here in South Carolina. One of the things that I learned was what Gullah meant. And Gullah literally means the law. That's what it means. It means the law. And so much so, I had to go look it up. And when I found that it was in the Bible, it was in the scripture. How did y'all erase that out of the scripture? Because if we had saw that, we would have known. Wow, talk about a tattletale. You know, like I said, this is a giant black man in a white bed. You ain't gonna miss him. You're not gonna miss him. He's too big to miss. You know, and so this is the truth of what we have endured as a people, is that they are not trying to. They have killed us, and then taught us to do the same to ourselves, and not just in a physical manner, in a spiritual manner, also in a mental manner of y'all go out and y'all kill each other. And then, you know, they go, well, I don't know where they get that from. We got it from y'all. You taught us everything. You know, even down to how they're talking about white farmers as if black farmers have not been farming since the beginning of time. This is the idiotic behavior of the divided states, that you think you can go to Africa and you can do the same thing to people whose eyes are open. Maybe not everybody, but there's a big majority of them that are open more, or eyes who are open more than here in America, because we're willing to drink the Kool-Aid over and over and over and over again, gallons of it. You know, and the results are just what we have right now. Division between each other, not understanding other people's cultures. As you all know, I took Ray home to St. Croix on last weekend, and the tears that filled my husband's eyes as he got back home. But what really bothered me more than anything else, when he wasn't looking and I cried, was how they have treated the Black people of St. Croix. What they have taken from them in land is preposterous. It is demonic what they have taken from these people. That the government, much like Kenya's, the government will see the houses fall and collapse on the people. Potholes so big, you can literally cook a stew in it. It was that deep. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at them like, what's going on? And we talked to the people. We talked to them. And they said the government is so crooked. It's crooked. It's crookeder than a politician's back. It's bad. It's real bad. But a container of butter is $16. And they explained that these things have to be imported. But this is supposed to be America, U.S. Virgin Islands. And you just see all of the mockery, all of the deceit, all of the lying, all of the killing, the stealing. It's okay for Black people to be killed. It's okay. You know, it's what the slave masters used to say. They're wise. And if some of you didn't know about American history where slavery was concerned, as much as the white masters would beat Black people, it really wasn't the white male masters that abused as much as the female white masters that abused Black men and abused Black people. They were all too willing, like I said, to throw our babies to alligators. They were all too willing to beat Black women. And right now, even in America, the value of a Black woman is so, it's not there. It's not there. When I hear one of my white friends, who I'm a really good friend with, he says, I don't feel nurtured. He said, it only seems to come from you people. It doesn't come from our people. We don't know how to nurture. We don't know how to love. And so since they don't, they are the ones who are willing to kill their babies. I worked in the hospital for 30 years. You know who I saw come and get an abortion? Not a whole lot of Black women. It was a bunch of white women constantly coming to get not one, not two, sometimes 5, 6 abortions. But because we've been involved in this, we've adopted so much of this European and Western mindset about children, about birth, that a baby is not a baby, it's an embryo, it's really nothing. From a time of conception, it's a baby. And my comment to them, and which I'm going to end with, is they tell me all the time, it's not really a baby, it's just a fetus. I said, well, if it's not a baby, just leave it alone, it'll go away. It get her.
Wow.
You know,
Yes, sir.
that is so good, Elder Vanessa. That is so good. I'm going to echo what you talked about, the meaning of gala. That's why you saw me scoot back there to get that book. That book written by our brother, Godfrey Keel. I hope I can get one day the privilege to meet him. So I'm going to share my screen here just for the benefit of those who will watch this later and also for our benefit. If you look up the word redemption in the scriptures, can you all see my screen? I'm showing this in the Blue Letter Bible. Somebody give me a yes.
Yes.
See it. Okay.
He gets up.
So if you look up the word redemption, I'm just going to look it up here. This is redemption. And you look it up in the Strongs, you get this word, gala. It's actually pronounced like giala. At the end, you're saying law. Okay. And this word is redemption, but it refers to kindred. Kindred is somebody you're related to, your kin. So there's a relationship. So, and it's also the right of redemption or the price of redemption. Okay. So why does, what redemption happened here? Of course, the Most High got Isolde out of Egypt. And then he gave them the law. And that's what they're referring to here. So they're related to one another from their experience out of Egypt and their experience and their relationship with the Most High, because he gave them these laws that would give them an identity. I mean, it's all in here: kindred, redemption, right of redemption. Now, if you go to this root word for gala, it's the first part of it: redeem, redeemer, kinsman, act as a kinsman redeemer, avenge, revenge, ransom. It's all in there. It is appalling what the enemy has done to take our covenant and turn it around and use it against us. It is appalling. I mean, right now, I feel like Ray at the beginning of this conversation. You know, I feel you, Ray, totally. And yes, you know, when you understand what has been going on, what has transpired so far, it is natural that you'd feel so mad about it, that you want to do something about it, you know? But fortunately, he is the avenger. He is the redeemer, you know? And if he has said he's gonna take revenge on our part, vengeance is his, we will ask him to just do his part, you know? Okay, let me do this. I had Michael. Michael, go ahead in the next 4 or 5 minutes, and then after that, we'll take a break.
I thought about how these laws were given to the people, and I wanted to say, well, I guess the question is, these laws given to Solele, is it because they didn't know them personally, um, because of them being raised in Egypt? And the reason why I asked that is because Abram, he acted according to the law, and it seems that he came up under his grandfather who knew the law, and he also was around his parents who didn't know, and he got moved away. So him coming up under Noah and Shem, would it be safe to say he learned these laws from them? And the way he acted uprightly, righteously, during his tenure, living his life, and he in turn he gave him to his sons, and during the time when his son was down in Egypt, or his grandsons, when he was down in Egypt, running Egypt, Joseph, would that be a time where these laws were introduced there? They were down there a while. Joseph he was held with a high regard, and I would just say I'm not sure, but would it be safe to say that these laws were there during the time that Joseph was in during his tenure in Egypt after his brothers passed and his I guess his sons and time would go on. Is this when the nation, as they grew there, did they come separated from these laws or get up under, I guess, a new law or New Testament, or really didn't have the guidance because the upper echelon, the other brothers, elders, they were gone. And when Most High takes them and bring them from Egypt, basically kind of what's happening right now. These guys didn't know. So let me introduce myself and my laws to them because that's how I feel. I was under the tenure of my father and his brothers and folks that supposedly know. Okay, yeah, but now it's not then. It's on. I'm getting it as it's for me. I'm gonna reintroduce it to you. So now you know. And I just wanted to ask that because Abram didn't have it, written down and didn't get told, but he sure acted accordingly. He acted righteously. And it says tons of times again that friendship between him and Sinai, it was it was billed as right. It was seen as friendship because he acted righteous. You can get in a place and kind of get removed, just like when they were in Babylon. You get removed from the right stuff you're supposed to get. So when he brought him out, I got to take this time and let me make sure you all know. And really specifically, I'm gonna come and tell you myself when he came down and told us so a lot. But I'm gonna ask again that question. If somebody can let me know, with these laws, would Abram have had them? And would maybe have gotten them from Noah and Shem and get